guys, it is Aoife from Fred Weasley Died Laughing, and I am here with another weekly wrap-up. So I just want to apologise for having no videos during the week. I just didn't pre-film last weekend, which was a bad idea because I was so tired during the week. I just didn't have the energy to film anything else. So I will be pre-filming this weekend, so there will be videos during the week. So yeah, so I'll just get straight on into the books that I've been reading. The first book that I finished this week was Sunday evening, after I actually filmed my last wrap up, and it was Rugby Runner by Gerard Siggins. This is a book that I was sent for review by O'Brien Press, and it is about a young boy called Owen Madden who is really good at rugby, playing rugby, and he goes to this private kind of boarding school, and he plays rugby for the school there. He's kind of like almost like team captain, and he also is like has the chance to be playing for the under-16s Irish team in like this I can't remember what it is, the World Cup. So yeah, so it's a really big deal, and Owen is actually able to see ghosts as well. So now and again he will see all these ghosts related to his school or with rugby and stuff like that. And this is actually, I think, the fourth book in maybe a series about Owen, but you can go into it not knowing anything else about the rest of the series. Is very easy to follow along. Like me, I haven't read the rest of the series, but I was able to follow along with this. And just kind of Owen is just kind of, he's dealing with kind of school and rugby and stuff, and then this new ghost pops up, which is a ghost that has a connection with like the very start of rugby, and the ghost feels like something is going to happen, something is going to go wrong, and Owen is trying to kind of like help him and try and figure out what is going to happen and how he can stop it. So I don't want to say too much because it'll obviously spoil what happens in the book. And as you can see, it's a really short book. This is kind of, Owen is about, I think he's 15, 16 in the book. But this is actually perfect for kind of readers aged 10 upwards. It's very like simple writing. It's very easy to follow along with writing. And even though like I know nothing about rugby other than like I occasionally watch it on TV, but like I wouldn't know the rules, I wouldn't know the specific terms or anything for it, but I was able to follow along with what was going on. There is a lot of like, this would be perfect for any like young boy or girl who is rugby mad, because there is a lot of rugby games in this, and I think this would be a specifically good book to read for maybe kids whose parents want to get them into reading, like especially, like, I don't want to like just say specific genders, but I think this book is really good for maybe getting younger boys into reading, because I feel like sometimes, especially with younger kids, it can be harder to get boys to read than it can be for girls to read. So I think this would be a really good one for boys to read. But yes, I did really enjoy this one. I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars, simply because obviously some of my enjoyment, I couldn't enjoy it as much as maybe I would have if I was younger, but I gave it a very strong 3 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed the mystery around it, and kind of how Owen dealt with that mystery. I really loved the fact that he could talk to these ghosts. That was just like a really fun aspect to it. He had a really great friends group. He had a really good family. His relationship with his family was really lovely. Like, they came out to his games and they spoke to him at the games, and they were really supportive of him. And there's also a thing about him, you know, having to do his schoolwork and eat healthy and stuff like that, because along with all of his rugby stuff, so he has a lot of things to deal with, but you see him dealing with it, and he's just a really nice character as well. He's just this really nice, friendly, modest guy, and yeah, he's just a character who's really easy to like. So I definitely was like under his charm for the book, because he's just so lovely. So yes, a really strong 3 out of 5 stars, and as I said, really great for a really good book for any younger people who are looking to try and break into reading. The next book I finished was In Like Flynn by Rhys, Bowen, and this is the 4th book in the Molly Murphy mystery series that you guys know I've been reading or listening to on audiobook. And this book is obviously about Molly, and this one is where she goes undercover. She's actually employed by the New York Police Department, and she goes undercover at this senator's house, because the senator's son a few years ago was kidnapped and they were never able to find him, and he was presumed to have died. And now these sisters, who are kind of claimed that they are clairvoyant, have been employed by the senator's wife to try and connect with the son in like the other world. And basically Molly is employed to go investigate and see how these sisters are kind of conning these rich people into saying they're able to connect with their loved ones that are dead and stuff like that. But then she also kind of gets embroiled in the mystery of the kidnapping, and she feels like maybe things weren't investigated as well as they should have been, and the person that they think had kidnapped the kid wasn't the person that kidnapped the kid, and there was maybe more to it. And yeah, so there's all that kind of trouble stirring up for Molly as usual. This one was okay. It wasn't the best one I've read in this series. Unfortunately, the audiobook narrator changed in this one. In the last three, it was Lara Hutchinson, and in this one it changed to an English actress called Nicola Barber. And she just could not do an Irish accent for the life of her, and it was really, really annoying. Molly's accent just kind of kept changing, and it kept going into that like really like almost insulting Irish accent that like everyone seems to think is an Irish accent, and it's not an Irish accent. And then like it would just change dialects, so it seemed like Molly was from like every single part of Ireland at the same time, and it was just really, really frustrating for me listening to it, because Molly's voice had like I'd become used to Molly's voice when Lara Hutchinson had been narrating her, and suddenly she felt like her and everyone else in the book felt like different people, and they felt like strangers, and I just really, really didn't like that feeling. So yeah, like, so obviously after a while, like, I did become used to Nicola Barber's way of doing Molly, but it's definitely not my favourite way. So I'm not sure how long she's going to be narrator for these books, but yeah, unfortunately that was just, I gave the narration like a 2 out of 5 stars because I just really, really hated it. But for the story I gave it like a 3 to 3.5 stars because I did enjoy it. I do think it kind of dragged out a bit longer than it probably could have been dragged out. I think it could have been a little bit shorter, but I did enjoy like Molly just pretending to be someone else, and she's like obviously undercover, so she's pretending to be the senator's cousin, and I just enjoyed her interactions with all the people. And we have Daniel Sullivan, who is kind of like the beau in Molly's life, but there are reasons why they can't be together, and he comes along. I always enjoy all their interactions. Yeah, so I obviously always enjoy these are always entertaining. Unfortunately just the narration for this one just threw me off a little bit. So yeah, so I gave it like a 3 out of 5 stars overall. The next book I finished was Three Dark Crowns by Kendare, and I'm so happy I finally got to read this, because this one was one I really, really wanted to read after it came out last year. And this is basically about 3 different sisters who are all queens on this one island. They are triplets, but when they are 16 they have to basically kind of go up against each other. Only one of them can become the ruling queen of the entire island, and they basically have to kill each other until one is left to become the proper queen. And they're living on 3 different parts of the island. So there's Catherine, who is the poisoner queen, and she's learning all the stuff about poison. She's supposed to like be immune to all these poisons. There is Mirabella, who is an elemental, so she's kind of can control like fire and weather and all that kind of stuff, which is really cool. And then we have Arsino, who is supposed to be a naturalist, which means that she can control animals and kind of have an animal familiar as well. So we're learning all about these sisters, about how they grew up and their lives and stuff like that, and also their connection to one another and how they feel about having to kill their sisters basically. So it's really, really interesting. It's very exciting. I really, really loved it because like, you know what, like 2 of them are going to die. You know that there's only going to be one probably left at the end, and you can't help but like all of them. Like, I found it really hard. I kept telling myself like not to get attached to the characters because there was such a high chance that they were going to die in any chapter and something would happen to them, and I just couldn't help but like love all of them. I kind of kept like changing who I liked the most, and I still don't think I know which sister I prefer. At first I liked Catherine because I felt like Catherine had the hardest upbringing because she's in the poisoner section, so literally her entire childhood she's been consistently poisoned to basically raise her immunity to these poisons, and it just seems like such a horrible life. And she seemed a lot more isolated than Mirabella and Arsino had been. They seemed to have more like proper idyllic childhoods than Catherine, but then like we got to know Arsino and Mirabella, and I really, really liked them as well, and where they grew up and their friendships and stuff like that. So yeah, I really liked all of them. I really enjoyed the side characters in this as well. There's one side character called Jules, who is Arsino's best friend, and I really, really liked her. I just found she was a really independent, strong person. There was a kind of a love triangle at one point, and I didn't really like it, but I kind of felt like it had a connection with Jules, and I just kind of felt it let Jules down as a character because I felt like she didn't need all that drama. Like, she is such an independent, like, strong woman. I don't think she needed all of that to drag her down, and I felt like kind of maybe, I don't know, it kind of didn't do her justice, I guess. And yeah, so I just really liked her, and I just want to see more of her in the next book as well. But yes, I really, really loved all of this, and the end of it was absolutely amazing. I really enjoyed the end. It was just really thrilling and really fast paced, and yeah, I'm so excited for the next book, because I feel the next book is going to be really epic and really thrilling, and I just have no idea what's going to happen. So yes, absolutely love this one, and I gave it a really strong 4 out of 5 stars. The next book I read was Close Enough to Touch by Colleen Oakley. This is a book I got from NetGalley, and this one was really good. I really enjoyed this one. This is about a girl called Jubilee, or a woman called Jubilee, and she basically has this really strange allergy, which means that she is allergic to humans. So if a human touches her, she's kind of allergic to other skin cells, I guess. So she has really bad allergic reactions if someone was to touch her skin. So she has to kind of cover herself up all the time and wear gloves. And after a very bad incident in her high school, just before she graduated, she basically shut herself into her house and didn't leave for 9 years. And eventually her mum dies, and she has no more money, so Jubilee has to go out to the world again and find a job and earn money, and has to deal with kind of the human population again and cover herself up again, and have to kind of try and hide her allergy from other people. And so she gets this job, and she ends up meeting this guy called Eric, who has an adoptive son called Aja, and she kind of has a connection with Eric. They just get on really well, they're both attracted to each other, and their relationship kind of grows. But then obviously Jubilee is, you know, hiding her allergies, so it kind of grows like this, and they both kind of end up needing each other. They both need this human connection in different ways, and it's just a really touching, lovely, heartwarming story, and I really enjoyed it. I just loved how Jubilee and Eric's relationship developed. It was it didn't happen overnight. It was like a tentative friendship at first, and then they kind of got to know each other, and then Jubilee started to get closer to Aja. I feel like a lot of things are brought up really well in this book. Like obviously Jubilee's allergy to humans isn't really real, but it's kind of like Colleen Oakley kind of put a note at the end of the book where she kind of based it upon people's reactions to like peanut butter and eggs and stuff like that, and how it can really like affect your daily life, and how it can kind of make other things happen, such as Jubilee had a touch of agoraphobia because she had locked herself into her house for so long. She found it very hard to step outside and go into public spaces that she wasn't used to. She definitely preferred like routines and places that she was very comfortable with, and she didn't like kind of going out of her comfort zone like that, and she had like, you know, anxiety over that, and I felt like all of that was portrayed quite well. I don't suffer from like much anxiety or agoraphobia, so I can't really say how realistic it was, but I found the fact that she didn't have like 100% agoraphobia, but she obviously had a touch of it, and I just felt like that was portrayed really well in the book. I feel like Aja as well also seemed to be on the autistic spectrum, and you know, he didn't really like people touching him, and he had his own kind of specific things that he liked and didn't like, and I just think he was like just written really well. And then I just love Eric. Eric was just one of these kind of goofy kind of character. Well, he wasn't really goofy, but he's goofy without meaning to be goofy characters, and I just really liked him. And this is actually a great book to read like for book lovers, because both Jubilee and Eric read a lot in the book and kind of discuss books and stuff like that as well, so I really loved that aspect of it. And Eric is reading books to get closer to his daughter, who he's become estranged from, and he's trying to get closer to her again, and he found kind of a book journal that she kept, and he's reading these books that she loved to try and connect with her, and I just really loved that. So he's like reading Twilight and The Notebook and The Bell Jar and stuff like that, and trying to figure out what it was about all these books that she connected with, and Jubilee is kind of helping him with that, and I just loved that kind of little side plot to it. I just found that really enjoyable. And this was going to be a 5-star for me, except the very end. The epilogue for me, I don't know what it was about it, it just really disappointed me. I just was just kind of like, oh okay, I don't really know, I can't really say too much because it was the epilogue, so it would like spoil everything, but there was just something about it that just threw me off the plot completely, and I just didn't really enjoy it, and I was just kind of like, I thought I was going to come out of the book going, oh my god, loved it so much. It kind of just was like I was on a high with the book, and then I read the epilogue and I just kind of went, oh okay. And yeah, it kind of just turned into like a meh kind of ending for me because of the epilogue. So yeah, I don't know what it was about it, but it was like a really strong 4 to 4.5 stars. And the last book that I have finished this week, and I'm reading 2 others at the moment, but I know I'm not going to finish them by the end of the week, so I'm stopping at this book, and that is The Love That Split the World by Emily Henry. This book was like quite hyped last year when it came out. A lot of people really loved the cover, and they got really excited for it, and then I kind of heard mixed reviews about it once it was out and people were reading it, which normally happens with very hyped books. So yeah, I am not going to say too much about this. I did buddy read this book as well with Karen at Rather Be Reading, and I'll leave her link below, so you guys should go and subscribe to her because she is brilliant. And yeah, so this book is about a 17-year-old girl called Natalie, and she is basically her last summer before she goes to college. She's kind of trying to, I don't know, kind of deal with herself and kind of get to know herself better before she kind of leaves everything she knew and goes to college, and all these weird things start to happen. And I'm not really going to go into what happens or like the summary of the plot of this book, because I feel like you should actually go into this book not knowing anything, which is kind of how I went into it. It's just one of those ones that's gradually kind of things that reveal themselves to you, and it's like a really nice journey, and I just feel like everyone else should probably go for it like that, because I think it's one of those when people try and explain what's happening, it makes no sense. Like, everyone will probably have a different way of explaining what it is that's happening in this book. But I will say I did really enjoy it. I felt the writing was really beautiful, really strong writing. I think this is her debut novel, so the writing was really strong. A lot of the descriptions were really beautiful, and I really enjoyed them. I really loved the relationship between Natalie and a boy called Beau in this book. I've seen some things where people said it was insta-lovey, but I actually didn't find it that insta-lovey. I found it quite like explainable, the fact that they were so connected to each other because of different reasons, which I won't get into because it would be a spoiler. But yeah, I just felt the relationship was, you know, it made sense, and I just really liked them together, and I was really able to picture all of them really well. There was a point in this book where she had an ex, and he kind of got violent towards her at one point, and she made excuses for him, and I didn't like that. Also, she's half Native American, and I just would have liked her to maybe delve into her Native American roots more, because a lot of the little stories that are in this book are supposed to have been apparently like they're inspired by Native American stories, and I would have liked her to have maybe actually properly looked into her roots, and maybe found out who like her family on that side was, and really kind of gotten to know them. But unfortunately it's kind of touched upon, but it's not, doesn't really go any further, and I just would have liked that to go a bit further. But the writing was really lovely. I did really enjoy it, and I really liked buddy reading this. This is a really good one to buddy read, because, you know, you just have so many questions all the time because you've no idea what's going on until like about like a good quarter of the way into the book, or almost halfway through the book, where things kind of start like making sense, and even then it doesn't even make that much sense. It's kind of one of those ones you just have to accept what you're being told, because if you try and think about it too hard it'll probably give you a headache. So you just kind of have to accept the author's kind of explanation of what's going on. So yes, I did enjoy it, and I gave it kind of a 3.5 out of 5 stars in the end. That is everything that I have read this week. Please let me know what you guys are reading. As usual, I'll see you guys again next time. Bye!